Okay. Uh, nice. Sanjeev, welcome to this conversation with the team leads at CM Group. Very, very excited to have you here.
Thank you, Amit. Really kind of you to call me a person from outside your world. But I think maybe if I can contribute something, that will be great for me.
And I think that's what me and my audience is looking for. I think what I want to do is I want to do a very quick introduction for you, Sanjeev, and I would like to just for you to add a little bit to that introduction. So you are a serial entrepreneur with a career spanning 3 decades, and what I have seen is you've started in the real estate world, design. You started as an architect, you grew up the ranks, went all the way to senior leadership in the real estate world, and then I think you've made a dramatic shift, although I think you still leverage your design skills. So I think from building homes, I think you've gone to building lives, especially for the elderly people, which I think is a fantastic uh, uh, purpose that you've set for your organization, especially in the 21st century as the world ages. And I think I'll be honest, this is something I have wondered at times if I need to head my own career in that direction. But thank you for that. So my understanding is you're marrying your previous skills of building businesses, building properties, designing them, to bringing them all that skill to bear on how you can make lives better for the elderly from a point of view of comfort, privacy, safety, choice, all of that. So, maybe if you can just fill in us for maybe 30 seconds to talk about what you want to add to your profile on that.
Thank you, Amit. Very kind of you. Yes, I was an architect, project manager, design manager, construction manager. So taken all the fields of real estate world globally, and there were some issues which got me into this. But what I realized, who am I? Uh, I'm a person. If I'm very creative, and if I see a problem, I try to find a solution. If the solution does not exist, then I start building the solution myself. So that has been my forte, and I try hard with whatever means I have. And I think if I can give something in this life, so I count my life backward. And so I have taken, like, okay, I have 20 years, so 20 seasons of mangoes I have to eat, but 20 years I have to give some solutions and leave something in this world. So that's how I am moving, and very simple way. So if I can leave
Oh,
something
very,
here, it will be for me.
very high thinking. Nice. So, everybody, happy to have Sanjeev, who's the founder and CEO of the Nima Group, focusing on the elder care segment. And Sanjeev, through this conversation today, we really want to get some insights from you in terms of the interplay between the culture that you're trying to build, both in your previous avatars as leader at the real estate world as well as in your current organization. And how do you see the linkage between culture and business growth? And I think at a high level, I would want to get your views on three areas. How do you build culture? Okay. Once that culture is in place, how do you see the interplay of that culture with the business and how the two marry with each other? And the third is from your own experiences, what are the challenges and benefits you've seen from having the right or the wrong culture? So let's go to the first one. And the first one is really about building culture. My question to you is, how do you build culture? Is that typically happen more unintentionally, or is that very intentional? And how do you identify the values around which your culture has to be built?
So I'll be very honest about it. It depends on the leadership. If I am very honest and truthful, my people will be like that. So, and to me, how I build Nima's culture, literally right from peon, right till like my leadership within the various organizations, everybody knows everything. Okay, how much I'm getting from a client, how much I'm spending for this thing, how much. So everybody knows everything. So I have built a very transparent organization where everybody is allowed to take decisions, spend money. So I have learned this actually from Taj, because I learned about Taj and I saw the what happened in that when they were attacked. So I learned that from Taj, where they said they have empowered everybody to take decisions, and so it has really hit me hard inside somewhere. Okay, so I said, okay, if I build something, and I will be very transparent, so I can grow. So even at my place, even the lowest level, even a care attendant, let's say, in my under care, he or she knows how much a customer is paying, how much medicine is going, everything they know. Okay, so it has worked for me very well. Okay.
So let's build on that. I think what you're really saying is honesty and transparency is one value which appeals to you very strongly.
Yeah.
How now your organization has many faces. You are obviously the most important one, but there are times when you are not there and your organization is interacting with their stakeholders. How do you build a culture where this value of honesty and transparency is consistently getting established across your organization, whether you are there in that moment or no? How does it percolate down to every corner of your organization?
See, it's very simple. If I'm charging anything to any customer, there is a basis for that. So I explain even the basis for my decision to my complete team. So if they are taking any decision on my behalf or the company's behalf, they know that company's expenses will be so much. So there has to be certain profitability. There has to be certain top up. So they know where their bottom line is. Okay, they will not go below that, and they are empowered to say absolutely no to that, because if they feel that we are going below a certain line, then there's absolutely no. And I'm very happy if the client goes back, if a customer goes back, if some of my employee has said no to certain things, I'm okay, because I have empowered them to take the decision. So it has worked very well, and if I say right till the bottom, they are empowered. So it is
And,
working well
and
till date.
And how do you ensure that while you are communicating it to your employees, they are communicated further to their team members and to other stakeholders? How do you ensure they communicate that further?
See, the good thing is once we have meeting, we have everyone in the like you saw when you came to our office. I had my secretary, I had my marketing person, and I was meeting CEO of one of the biggest firm in India. Okay, and they were present. So whatever I was discussing with you, they were also participating. So this is the culture even I have in my organization, that I don't push anybody out of the door. Everybody goes inside. Even if I'm talking to my manager, they are also present, so they know what is happening in the organization. So
So,
they are part of my organization.
okay, specific question on hiring. If honesty and transparency is a key value for you, and let's say your marketing manager is hiring a marketing executive, how do you ensure that your marketing manager is screening the particular candidate on that particular value?
See, if I'm running such an organization, I have to trust them. Okay,
Okay.
very simple. So I trust my every employee, otherwise they will not be with me.
Okay.
So simple. So if they are taking a decision, I trust them unless they are found otherwise. So they are empowered, even with the cash, check, whatever, even with the money, they are empowered. So if they're taking a wrong decision, they'll be caught sooner than later. Okay, and they themselves will be suffering. So I don't see that happening. Till now, I have not
Okay.
seen that happening at all. Because
Okay.
ultimately, the person hiring is responsible for the work his subordinate is doing. Okay.
And do you worry or think about currently you're a bootstrapped organization and you're starting to grow, and as your organization size grows to maybe 500 people and 1,000 people, how would you ensure that the culture that you've been able to establish in the early stages of your organization's journey sustains and does not get compromised as the growth starts to hit a much larger level?
I totally agree with that. I am fearful that over time, once the organization grows, and I don't wish to lose this, but somehow again I will go to my parent. I will say, how could Tata do it? So I'll have to study. I'll have to study hard from them. If they could do it in some way, they are too big, like big shoes that I can Uh, Certainly, I have no way to talk about them, but I can learn from them in a small way. They have been able to do it, so why can't we?
What practices would you, from your experience, worked when you were in the real estate industry, which were possibly much larger organizations? What practices do you think worked successfully in propagating the right cultural values across the organization?
See, in even that side, what I realize is most of the organizations build too much of flap. So
Okay.
when I'm very clear. I don't want to work with a very large team. Okay, so even like say I was in Kuwait before that, Dubai and all that. Okay, so I was like the person who used to work with the smallest team. If others are working with 20, believe me, I'll work with four. But four people will know everything rather than 20 people not knowing, not knowing what other guy is doing. And I was always like the first to deliver, even with that. So I realized that in the whole organization we are building inefficiencies. Inefficiencies are coming broadly because of the leaders' fear that if I leak everything, okay, then my leadership will be lost. Somehow I think they think information is their power. I think that's absolutely wrong, personally. So I don't build any silos like. Okay, so everybody knows everything. If I'm doing design, sales, or anything, even the sales guy or design guy, everybody will know everything. Why it is happening. And same like I was constructing a pretty high building, I think highest at that time in Kuwait. And, I was one person, okay, whole architecture and constructing 173-meter tall billion-dollar building and just one person handling. And I could do it comfortably within 6, 7 hours. My duty hours were 8. So reason was that only if I have empowered right till the bottom, that you are free to take decision. This reason is that logic. If I can explain, I think everybody has brains, so they take
Okay.
the decisions on my behalf, and it works beautifully. I will not lose this.
Uh, so let me take a few channels which typically CEOs and HR heads use to propagate culture. Could be uh, could be open house sessions, could be recognition programs, could be team building activities, could be group meetings. Out of some of these channels, which of these channels do you feel possibly become most effective at the early startup stage of an organization
See,
versus at the late growth
I
stage?
think two things have caught me. So we have group meetings, and funny thing I have found, if I have group meetings, the decisions cannot be taken in a group. So before I'm very fearful of these group meetings, frankly. So before I enter the group meeting, I have asked all the problems, and I would have solved all the problems. Okay, before I enter the group meeting, and then I will have the group meeting where there may be a few more queries, but that becomes very easy. Okay, so that has worked very well because if I sit in a group meeting and there's no questions and I'm very open, you see, so then everybody feels that it's overall it's good situation. Now, second, we realized like that employees are not here for work. Okay, employees are here for entertainment. So
Okay, that's
I
interesting.
entertain them. Okay, simple. So in all the organizations, we have outings. Like one beautiful things that I have derived from my Senate school is like a mango party. So every month we have one or two functions, and believe me, all my employees, even if they leave after 6 months, 8 months, they want to come back. Not for me, not for money, for entertainment. So
Okay, that's interesting.
that has been the focus. Work will happen. Work is naturally, everybody has to work, everybody has to get paid, but not every place will get entertainment. So I'm the joker here.
Okay,
I'm entertaining.
got it. Let's switch to another subject. Okay, let's say you've set a culture and you spoke about honesty and transparency. I want to go to the other side of culture. You've set a culture, you set the rules. What are challenges that you face with the entire concept of culture as you drive growth for your business organization? What are the challenges do you face? And sometimes do you feel that my own culture that I have set is, at least in the short term, becoming an impediment for me to drive business growth?
Pretty deep question, yeah, I must say. But yeah, I agree. Sometimes too much of transparency uh, becomes an issue because all my business, how I'm doing business, uh, gets leaked because when employees leave for monetary reasons or otherwise, uh, they carry all the information with them. And but somehow I think I have to learn that information is not something that you can keep to yourself, or your business models are not something that nobody can copy. So I think it's just that time you have to implement your business models very fast, and soon in 3 to 6 months, somebody else will be copying it. So I think we just have to learn this. And other problem that I'm seeing here is because every personality is different. So if I am like this, always enjoying my life and having very transparent and confidence on my, juniors, or if I say subordinates, uh, n- not everybody is that confident about themselves. So it may take them some time, maybe 6 months, 1 year, to become confident of their role and their position. And that's the period I face problem, because at that time they try to hide the information, they try to keep some things to themselves, and that becomes an issue within the organization. Because right at the bottom, the issue comes up to me maybe after 3 months. The very small issue has been bloated, it's out of proportion. So to manage that last 2 months you were suffering because this person kept the information with himself or herself, issue was not there. But for a junior person, the issue was there for 3 months. Okay. So yes, that is the issue. I think individual personalities where they don't have confidence on themselves, that becomes a problem. So yes, I don't know. I think I will give the problem to myself, that they should feel confident that I have full trust. But building this trust takes maybe 3 months, 6 months. So during that period, uh, we have issues.
And another question I would want to ask is, especially because you have experience both in working in our own country as well as outside, especially the Middle East, uh, are there universal values that culture needs to be built upon? Or does the values that underpin culture have to take into account geographic cultures and the stage and the type of organization? Let's say a startup versus a late stage growth organization. So, what's your view on, are cultural values universal or they have to be customized?
See, every place has their own culture, if I put it this way, and we have debates within the organization. If you put me in the Middle East, 8 hours of work means 8 hours. Okay,
Okay.
if it's in India, if generally, if in out of 8 hours, if somebody works 5 hours, they feel that they have worked enough. So that's the Indian culture. I think in Japan they will not lose even a minute. Okay, so. Uh, I think it depends a lot on the place that you're working. It's not the people, it is the country and their environment and their culture that becomes difficult to manage. So I have been in the construction field, and when I came back to India, like I was called back to India to build one of the prime building in India, and they asked me how to build it because that was getting built in Middle East and all. I said first thing is to fire all Indians. I was very open about it. I said simply fire all Indians, get Chinese, okay, and we will build it. With Indians, I can't build, and that was truth. So they tried to build something out of one of the Indian contractor company, and I will not name the company, one of the biggest construction company in India. They failed, okay, and then after that they got an international company again from the Middle East, but with Indian workers, and they were successful. So somehow, why they were successful, same Indians, because they were having the Middle East culture that they have to work accurately. But we don't have a culture here to work properly. So that's why I think personally I feel that in India we are failing on in manufacturing because of this our own cultural issues. Nothing more than that. So
So India is also trying now to be a manufacturing superpower, right? That's the direction we're trying to go, and hence would you say that culture, I mean, we're looking at subsidies and special packages and all of that, but do you hence feel that culture is one of the things that we have to heavily invest on or
My,
change?
my strong belief is that we will fail
Okay.
miserably,
Okay.
and I'm very, very strong. I strongly believe that because of our own culture, nothing more than that. Because of Indian culture of work, we are going to fail in manufacturing totally. Okay,
Hmm.
because yeah, one is like if chalta hai attitude, that jugaad hai attitude. One that. Second is inefficiency in working. Third, I have seen Chinese. Like say frankly, from my site, one of the project in Kuwait, we had the whole Indian team, and one morning the contractor decided to fire all Indians, and they got Chinese. So I saw the difference. Let's say Chinese labor, and good thing was I could not communicate, so he was working fast because I could not stop him for any poor quality or anything. That is the one plus. Second was like the same guy, he was doing plumbing, but say let's say the plumbing is for 2 hours work, and rest of the time he's free. If he's an Indian, he'll be sitting free for 6 hours because his job is the plumbing. But this gentleman, because his job is like for 8 hours, he was doing plumbing. After that, he was shifting bricks or the blocks for 6 hours because he has to work 6 hours to get paid for the 6 hours. Big cultural difference, and efficiency is very high. So somehow I feel that if we have to be successful, we have to change our culture. The whole Indian culture is a problem, and then only we can be successful. Otherwise, absolutely no. One, and then second is
So
a quality issue because
a
Indians
big
like if it's just sorry, just cutting you. If it's let's say 90 degrees, India may like okay, so 85 degrees good enough. Okay, but for them 90 means 90. Okay, so big difference. So I can't build good things in India unless it's done by robots or some machines or something. I am just an operator, but not with my own hands.
taking this point further, you kind of basically talking about cultural work culture being very different in India versus the Middle East. Now, extending this point further, do you feel that there are work differences in work culture even within India across different geographies and metro cities?
Yes, I do. I do believe that South India is very good. At least people
Okay.
are more sincere. North India, yes, we have more issues. Even in we have offices in Mumbai also. Mumbai people are a little more sincere, uh, but North India is a serious issue.
And however, do you think it's getting changing for the better with time? Let's say where it's not as good.
I don't think we are changing. Uh, we love our unemployment because because I'm telling you the fact. Like if I have to hire 100 people tomorrow, believe me, I'll get 10 CVs or 10 people only. I'm not going to get more than that. If I have to hire 100 architects, I'll get 1,000 CVs. 100 labor, only 2 3 positions. So because labor is not willing to work at all, they are just not willing to work. The culturally the problem is if even if I get labor also, if I pay him for 2 3 days, he or she feels that I have enough money to survive for another 2 3 days. So then he will not come for job. He will come after fourth day once he has taken a loan from someone to survive for one day. That time only he will come asking for job again. The good he knows that when he comes on the fifth day, because there is a vacancy, perpetual vacancy, he will get the job. But he will not work for 30 days. No way. So
So then there is an obvious question here. Let's say, I mean, not say, it is a fact that your organization is present in different geographies already. You're present in North India, you're present in Bombay. How does one set of cultural values help you maximize the business growth for your organization when you are spread across different locations and each of their own generic work cultures? How does one set of values help you grow across the regions? Isn't that
difficult.
a okay?
It is difficult, yes, because
Okay.
my values are suitable more for West and Southern India.
Okay.
Northern India, yes, it's a little difficult. But
Okay.
we are sailing through. As I said, people take time to change. So after some time, they see that this company has different work culture, and they imbibe that culture, and they are happier after that. I've seen that, but they are happier because they themselves don't want to, be like what they have become.
And we've been talking of differences in work culture from a geographic point of view. Let me shift now and talk to you about geographic cultures from a customer's point of view. Your business is kind of unique, and most businesses probably target the 18 to 50 age bracket, right? Most businesses probably target that segment,
Absolutely,
but
absolutely.
yours is targeting the elderly and the old age. Now, when you talk of transparency and honesty, is that also a choice because of the kind of target audience your business has? Or is that more to do with the founder and CEO himself strongly believes in transparency and honesty?
I have certain advantages. Like if you're talking of elder care side, I'm dealing with maximum NRIs, PIOs, people from US, Singapore, Australia. There, people are honest. Okay.
Okay.
So good thing is like my culture works very well with them because if I speak anything, if there's a problem, also if there's a shortfall, I'll be very transparent that there is a shortfall on our side. We are trying, so they understand that. But I think if I'm just talking to just like say the local culture, if I say to my customer of elder care, yes, that could be an issue, little bit of an issue. But still, we are talking to people who are mature, 45 plus. I'm not really talking to very young. So they are more
Yes.
matured. They understand, and most of the people are corporate. They have not come from trading community. They have not come from any other side, political or any other side. So corporate people they still understand. So it is working till date. But yes,
Okay.
I think if I scale up and if this elder care goes down to different segments, more policy driven, more standards driven things will work. This kind of culture may become an impediment in growth.
Okay. Okay. Nice. Very interesting. I think it's kind of good to hear uh, your thoughts on work culture. I think you definitely highly index on the honesty, transparency point of view. I think the most fun part for me was listening to your views about the differences in culture across geography. Some of them, may invite a lot of views from our audiences, but more the merrier. I think it's good to hear from somebody who's worked across geographies and who continues to work across geographies within India. Very, very interesting.
See, I can be diplomatic or I can be truthful.
No,
I'm
I
being
think you
very,
chose to you
I'm
chose to
being
declare
very
right at
truthful.
the beginning
Yeah,
of the conversation that honesty and transparency of
I've worked for corporate for 30 years. I can be very diplomatic, So, but I'm at my age now. I think I'm very truthful. I don't
got
have to
it.
live by dishonesty.
Got it. Sanjeev, what I would want to do is kind of just open it up to the audiences and see if we get some incoming questions, and
Yeah,
maybe together we can take some of those questions, your
absolutely.
views, my views. Yeah. Okay. Let's see if we have some questions coming up here. Just give me a second on this. Okay. So one question I'm getting here is, in today's competitive job market, a strong company culture is key to attracting and retaining top talent. Can you elaborate on specific cultural aspects that resonate with high performers and how you can leverage them in recruitment and retention efforts? So, basically, cultural aspects that help to attract high performers.
See, the way we are, I think if we are transparent, honest, we really don't attract if I say the top leadership from any other company, because
Okay.
they are used to one style which is called, we work only on matrix system than pyramid system of organization. So we attract next level, like say I'll say level 2 and 3 only, because top leadership will not come to our organization. We want these
I understand.
younger people to grow and
Understood.
become what, understand this and become a leader, and that's what we are able to do. But top leadership from any other company does not come to me.
Uh, and I just want to add to what you said from my own experience. I think when I try and meet potential talent for coming and joining our organization, I think couple of things that I feel appeals to high performers is examples of fast track career growth path. So what they look for is, do you have leaders who've grown from within, and something you alluded to, who've joined you, in a period of 5 to 6 years, been able to jump a few levels and get into leadership roles. And they like examples like that. And I think that happens when the organization consciously tries to promote talent internally. I think that's one. Second, and I think the second piece has obviously become more important in the post-COVID world, which is flexibility of where I work from, when I work from, and can I be measured more on results rather than efforts? And it's always a dilemma. I think founders, leaders, CEOs, they always struggle with, do I measure only performance output or do I also measure input? Because good CEOs know that unless you track input, output is not going to come in, right? And the moment you start to track input, it does become to, can at times become a bit of micromanagement. But I think the high performers today are looking for organizations where they can get fast growth and flexibility, in addition to what you said about the honesty and transparency piece.
No, I totally agree with you, Amit. I think, but flexibility has an issue because somewhere you have to, they set a certain expectation, their line, and our line may be much higher, from them. So I have always found that there is a gap. So there are continuous debates. If somebody says, okay, I'm very good, I'm a high performer, I can do a job which is worth 2 hours in 1 hour. So out of eight, if I work 4 hours, I have done my job. But on the other side, I say I hired you because you are a high performer, so I want 8 hours of your work. So there's always a gap in the expectations, and the hybrid culture is somewhat a barrier here. They think 4 hours in my office is is good enough. So that's an issue. I think that's mainly we have to make them understand. We have to discuss.
And do you think this is an issue which is going to go away as we start to live in the post-COVID world, or is this something which is here to stay and is going to be a constant battle between the
My
organization and the employees?
I believe people will be back to office. And recently, I think one interaction with a very large organization uh, in India. So they have come back to NEMA and they say, okay, build elder care, uh, you know, daycare centers in our all buildings across India.
Oh, wow, that's nice. Wow.
Okay,
Okay.
just because people have an excuse that they have parents to look after, back home, so they would like to have work from home. So they say, okay, forget it. You come and build a care home. We'll say, okay, get your parents. Simple. So
I mean, that's fantastic. I mean, that is the first time I've heard of something like this. We've always talked of having childcare facilities in the corporate world. But when you are saying that there are corporates who are expected to build daycare facilities for elders, wow, that is the first time I've even heard of something like this. Fantastic.
it's an absolutely innovative idea. I hope it
Okay.
gets implemented. So we are in discussion.
Okay. Okay. Wow. Okay. And I think I'll take one more question from the audience that is coming in here. Uh, the business landscape is constantly changing. How do you foster a culture which allows you to adapt, innovate your culture? Because as your organization grows, the competitive landscape grows, the opportunities changes, the challenges change. How can you ensure that you're not being held to the set of values that your culture embodied, let's say 5 years back, and your organization is molding its culture in line with the needs of the changing times?
Okay, I think there are very two things I'll bring out this. One is like I believe that every business has to cannibalize itself. Okay,
Okay.
I sincerely believe in this. So I'll have to kill my own business maybe in few years time. So how do I kill and still sustain growth and sustain jobs for my employees? So it's very simple because my if I explain the whole business idea and everything to my employees, everybody has creativity. So they come up every day with new ideas, as you just heard one. Okay. So every day they are coming with new ideas because they are there in the market. They are seeing opportunities. So we are continuously innovating, as I say, when you say serial entrepreneur, that's how it becomes. So ideas come from everywhere. So we whatever is looks good, we pick them up and we say, okay, let's implement. And so ultimately my business has to die down, what I'm doing. So there will be new businesses out of this business. And we are doing it. We are killing certain of our own parts. We are on the way.
And then do you set up a new set of culture every time you do that? Every time you.
Culture remains the same, where everybody is an entrepreneur, everybody knows everything. They come up with ideas and they champion that idea. They develop that business model. We help them, finance them, and my whole team, full team, supports that. So I don't hire more. Same team, whatever I see possibility within the team, I try to do that. And at one time now, currently we are working on 4 ideas, okay, which are on the anvil, and I have not hired much. It's the same
Mhm.
set of people.
Got it. Got it.
So it's a very different
Okay.
way of working, I believe. Very different way of working.
This has been fantastic, Sanjeev. I think I'm just scrolling through mentally through what we've discussed, but
Sure.
loved you being very clear about, I think, the number one value that you put emphasis on, which is transparency. And I think what I hear you is, and I think that's very relevant for a relatively young age organizations like yours, where you say that my culture gets established through me talking and walking on that value, right, which is of transparency. Uh, what I also heard you say is you sometimes look to other organizations. For example, you talked about the incident that happened at Bombay with the Taj Group, and how do you learn from that? I think the other piece was uh, the variations in culture across geography, whether it is across international boundaries or within state boundaries, and then the variations across culture in terms of time as the organization evolves. You talked of the organizations being killed to allow the next phase of the organization to come in. So I think that's interesting. And of course, I think I just loved that thought. I think it's a huge opportunity for you to be able to build elder daycare centers in the corporate world. I've not heard of that earlier. Fantastic example. Hopefully, you really crack that open and go big on that. But
Thank you.
thank you so much, Sanjeev. This was really good fun, and hopefully look forward to some more conversations over the coming months. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Very kind of you to get me here. I'm small for that, I believe, but thank you.
Oh, this was lovely. Thank you so much. You take
Thank
care.
you.
We'll be in touch.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye.
Thank you.